Hi, I'm Joanna Rochester, and this is Real Talk Soul Alchemy. Sorry. Um, Soul Alchemy is a journey of transformation, of coming to realize your story, what's brought you to this place, and then to understand how to let go of that story so that you can get into alignment with what your soul purpose is, what you came here to do. So, alchemy is the art of transformation. In the old days, it used to be from silver to gold, but now, as a soul alchemist, I help people transform from their story to their truth. And it is a journey, and it's a lifelong journey, but it's a beautiful journey to be on. And each week, I try and provide you with some tips, some information to help you on your journey of letting go of your story and becoming the beautiful you that you were meant to be. Real Talk Soul Alchemy is part of Speak Up and Empower's online webinars that are available to anyone that's interested, those that are searching for more in their lives. We're a community of heart-centered people that want to share their wisdom and knowledge with the rest of the world, whoever is searching for more in their lives. So once again, Joanna Rochester, and I've reached this point where I became the soul alchemist because I transformed my life. I went from this life that was very, it was very a good life, but it was not spiritual. I lived day to day. I guess probably the best way was existing, not thriving. And my journey has brought me to this place where I am thriving, and it's still a constant journey, and it's still part of, releasing my story. And it's never that you're dealt with something and you just move on, because it's always part of who you were. But we all have baggage, but it's whether or not we carry our baggage with us that allows us to continue on our journey and have abundance in our life, abundance of health, wealth, love, joy, whatever you're searching for. And so today I wanted to talk to you about self-love. Because unless you are able to say, I truly love myself, all aspects of myself, you will never attain the balance that you're looking for. You will never attain whatever that was, the joy, the happiness that you're searching for, and to become that best version of yourself, the one that loves you and then has great compassion and love for the world around them. Because that really is our journey, is to come to realize that we are loving, we deserve love, we are lovable, and that that we are God and God is in us. So often on our journey of searching for more, we look externally, we look outside of ourselves, we take courses, we do different treatments, we talk to different people. And it is important, because we can get help on our journey, and to have someone that's objective that can help us, make us think about things differently. Part of what I do as a coach is to guide people to become more aware of what their story is, so that we can then uncover what's blocking them, what's preventing you from being that best version of yourself. It's a journey that I've been on, I continue on, and that I help my clients with. But there is so much that we can do internally ourselves instead of looking outside, as we all do, because we don't truly love ourselves. If we truly loved ourselves, then we would know that we have everything inside of us that we need, and we can trust ourselves. We can intuitively know that our thoughts, our ideas, are the red flags that we get, that they are trustworthy, that they come from a place of love for self. And so we can utilize that information, and we can then love other people more. So one of the first questions, so how do you know if you love yourself? Well, first question, and I had this, when I was on my journey of becoming more self-aware and coming to understand myself more. I went to someone who asked me if I loved myself. And at the time, I burst into tears and said, no, I'd never asked that question. So but a lot of people can say, sorry, a lot. Some people can say, yes, I love myself. But do you love yourself unconditionally? Can you look at all parts of yourself and say, I know that this has happened, that I've done this action, whatever it is. There's parts of me that I'd like to change, but I still love all parts of me. I still see everything that I am and say, I love you. And if you can't do that, then there is a journey to explore, a journey of self-discovery and a self-awareness. So I think a great place to start is to start doing some mirror work, taking a look at yourself in the mirror and being able to say, I love you. And, if you can say that, then spend 5 minutes looking at yourself, just staring into your eyes and saying, I love you. And when you can do that, then you can move on to, meditation is a great way to dive in and be able to explore, what parts of yourself have you suppressed, have you put down? A lot of times when we're kids, we do things, we see things, we see things, we do things that, maybe we don't like, or, if you are very spiritual, if you felt things or saw things or understood things and people told you, no, that's not acceptable. No, you can't share that information. No, that's not right. That's bad or wrong. Then you would have shut that part of yourself down. And perhaps if it was shut down deep enough, you may see it from a childlike perspective that part of you is bad, or part of you is like, that's not a good part of you, especially if you ever were able, foretold the future and saw bad things happening to people. A lot of people that have that happen to them shut that down because, of course, they don't want to see it, but they also don't know what to do with the information. Do you go and share that with someone? And if you maybe did in the past, then I'm sure you were shut down because people, of course, don't want to hear that. So, there's so much there from our childhood, the story that's created, what labels were put on you. How did you see yourself? Were you bullied at school? Did you have a teacher that didn't like you? Did you not get along with family members? Was maybe one of your parents, you weren't seen as their favorite, or they had a favorite and you weren't it? Our story is so complex. It's based upon our family. It's based upon our friends. It's based upon our own story. It's based upon the world around us. But that story limits us because we see ourselves through the filter of our story. And so often that filter is not about self-love. If it was, I think our lives would be a lot different if we could, from very early age, come to realize that we truly loved ourselves and thought about it and talked about it. Often we think, we may know that we're loved, but do we believe that we're lovable? Or, if you come from circumstances where you didn't receive a lot of love as a child, then you're going to be searching for it. And maybe you've done things in your past that when in your search for love that you look back on and don't really like. But here's the thing with hindsight, and I've said this many times before, but it's so important to hear, is that hindsight is not for us to judge ourselves. We can look back at ourselves and come to understand why we did things, looking at understanding where we were at the time. And so this is really important because we don't do things in the past because we were bad or wrong. It was that, we were living in a place of insecurity or low self-esteem, or, and based upon those things that we had addictions, or we had, we were trying to bury and to try not to feel whatever we were doing at the time. Because so often our addictions are a bandage, right, for trying to learn to deal with what's going on inside of us and not having the tools, someone to talk to be able to deal with what we are feeling inside. I often wonder about a lot of people. I had someone close to me that used to talk about, that she would say that we used to call her a hypochondriac, that, anytime someone felt something, she'd feel the same way. but I wonder if she was an empath. And so, there's so much about ourselves that is challenging, that's in our lives, the story of who we become. Part of me growing up in the family that I grew up in, wonderful family, but of course I brought my own stuff to the table. I brought my own relation, or my own personality, that and being that third child. There was 6 of us, but for a long time my youngest brother came along many years afterwards. There was 5 of us, so being that third child, and there's lots of dynamics around your position in the family. And even, I don't know, we have such an amazing story for each of us, and there's a million reasons why our story is what it is. And that's okay, right? But it's coming to recognize that it's a story, that it limits you from truly loving yourself. It prevents you from having that unconditional love for yourself. And that's what limits you the most. Because if you can't see that this world is unlimited, there is so much potential out there, and you base your future predictions, or your future story, or your future goals upon where you are now, and that lack of true love for yourself, lack of true ability to understand that anything is possible for you, that's when things are challenging for you. So coming back to self-love, exploring, what aspects of yourself do you love? This is where affirmations come into play. This is where meditation works, because there's all kinds of amazing guided meditations out there that help you to explore what self-love is, to explore the past and understand what is buried, to release negative emotions, and to understand what is buried deep within you. Because so often we have no idea what parts of ourselves we don't love. And this is really important to understand and to come to see. This journey of being an observer in your life, an observer in your life, will also help you in your exploration of self-love and self-awareness, so that you can come to appreciate those parts of yourself in the past that you didn't like, or parts of yourself that you now wish to change moving forward, and to explore a different way of dealing with things. Anytime you feel emotions, it's an opportunity for you to explore who you are. Why did this bug you? Where does that come from? What part of yourself don't you like? What part of yourself was triggered? An inner child? And it's not always just an inner child. We can be stuck at certain parts of our life if we've had something traumatic happen later on. I know, my points, my divorce, the death of my mom, disease that I had, all these things can cause our souls to want to step away and to hide part of ourselves. And often those parts of ourselves we maybe consider weak or damaged. And this is another real bone for me, is that it always drives me a bit crazy to have people say, well, I'm broken. Because we're not broken, we're bent. And we can come back to a place of alignment where that bentness doesn't really matter. Because if you're bent, you can, it doesn't have to be that way that you stay bent. And who's to say that life is on the straight and narrow? So often the journeys that take us bring us the most joy and happiness are ones it's not a straight line. It's a snaking line that takes us in and through different places. It takes us on different adventures and different journeys, and teaches us the most about ourselves. So when I look back and I see some of the people in my life, and I see that, that I hated what happened. I hated the way I responded. I blamed myself, all those things. That doesn't come from a place of self-love. That comes from a place of lack of understanding, lack of awareness, lack of confidence and self-esteem, and knowing that, yes, that happened, but my past doesn't define me. Here I am now. Where do I want to go? Can I look back at that and say, I still love you. I still love me for dealing with that, for asking for that to be part of my life. And here is a wish from you, from you know, our guides, our teachers, is that, you know, listening now, that you take the opportunity to explore who you are and understand yourself, what self-love is and what it means to you, and to understand more about your journey. Because your journey is truly a beautiful journey that is taking you places that you asked to go as part of your contract here on earth. Your journey of self-awareness and self-discovery, you laid out the journey for that. And it's something that you've chosen, and that may be hard to understand and a challenge to think, why the hell would I have chosen this journey? But that's part of this human existence, this human thriving that we asked for and that we agreed to when we came to earth, is to learn to love ourselves as God loves us, as we love God, as God is us and we are God. And so the more that we can explore this journey and step back and be the observer of it, and watch what's happening to us and come to understand what true self-love is all about, that's when we can truly dive in and have this absolutely amazing journey that life is, and start to explore it more, and start to not be caught up in, especially with everything that's going on in the world right now, the collective consciousness, fear and anger and heaviness that's out there now, because there really is so much heaviness going on in this world. And it's challenging to live with that, especially when you're not aware that that heaviness is there, that you are actually feeling it subconsciously. And to come to see that it's not your energy. And that's maybe one thing I would truly encourage you on your journey, is that when you're feeling, when you come to realize, that's the first step, right? Is to come to realize that this is not your norm. You're not this heaviness, this anxiety, this depression, this anger, whatever it is, that's not truly you. You may experience it a lot in your life, but it's not truly who you are. That is the energy that you're feeling, this adventure that you're exploring, that you're moving through. You truly are light and love, and God is within you. But it's often a challenge, especially when we don't truly love ourselves, to be able to see that, to feel that, to understand that that is your norm, and that is your journey, and that is the life lesson that's here for you today, is to love. And when you can reach that place of love, self-love, then you can start to see other people differently. So often, so much when people hurt other people, they do it because they've been so hurt in their lives, and because they're searching, they're looking for love. That's how they got love in the past. And let's not get into the psychology of things, but so much of what's going on in the world, if you step back and instead of being amazed or astounded or getting caught up in the energy that groups of people are putting out, be able to observe it and understand it, and be able to then deal with them at their level. And I'm not saying concede to them or anything like that, but when you connect with them, to connect with them and be able to address them at their level, and then you can start to change the world. And this happens in relationships, right? The relationships that you have with family, with friends, with anyone around you, co-workers. If you can truly come to understand that they are not coming from a place of self-love, they're probably coming from a place of self-hate instead, some inner child that is acting out, that's been triggered. If you can see that and understand that that's where you're coming from, then you can flip it around and just send them love, understand where they're coming from, and deal with them at that level. Which is not a place of self-love. And if you come from a place of self-love, then the anger, the hurt, whatever has been triggered inside of you will be released. And you can come to them from that, it's always Michelle Obama, but so many people have said, take the high road, whatever the high road is. But you can take that high road when you love yourself, when you know you deserve, when you know you're worthy, and be able to talk to someone, connect with someone, and see someone, being that observer, from your place of self-love. Then you can see them coming from a place that's not self-love, and be able to recognize that and deal with them at that level. So it can really change everything. And any relationship, any need that you have to talk to anyone, set boundaries, whatever it is, when you come from a place of that strong self-love, that self-awareness, that higher self-esteem, then you won't come across as angry or needy or whatever the emotion is. You will come across as a person that knows their worth, that know they deserve love, and they are demanding it for themselves. And so you can see how self-love can change everything. Every aspect of yourself can be altered when you come from a place of self-love. So affirmations are a great tool. I am learning to love myself more. I am moving towards seeing myself as an amazing person. I'm moving towards seeing myself in a good place. There's so many affirmations. What works best for you. Affirmations have to be a stretch for you, but they have to be believable. So you can't say, I'm absolutely amazing, if then you go, no, I'm not. So affirmations are great. You say them 5 or 6 times a day for many days until you've got them down pat. And then they become part of your life. And once you can say something and go, yeah, that's it, then you start to stretch yourself a little bit better. So affirmations, guided meditations to release negative emotions, to recognize suppressed emotions, but to move on and to picture them, being that observer in your life so that you can recognize when what you're feeling, and knowing that it's not your truth, it's your story, as opposed to who you really are, and starting to play with that, noticing your thoughts, noticing your emotions, noticing your physical body, and starting to connect and understand and love you. And that's another thing. If you truly trust yourself, that comes from a place of self-love also. And so often, if we've been hurt or betrayed by someone, it's always, there's a bit of a question of, can I ever love again? And you can always love again if you trust yourself. We are always, our intuition, our subconscious will always tell us what's going on with other people, because we can read other people. We tap into their energy, whether you're aware of it or not. You tap into other people's energy. And that energy you can read, and you will get your warnings. And if you think back of any time you've been betrayed in your life, there was always red flags that went up, but you didn't trust them. You may have recognized them, but if you honored those flags and dealt with it, confronted the person about it, then you would have had to do something about it. But if you're coming from a place of lack of self-esteem or lack of confidence, you may not have wanted to do that. But know that you did get the red flags. And now, coming from a place of strength, you can say, all right, I need to discuss this with them, because our relationship either will get better and it'll be a better relationship, or I may have to move on and let go of this person that betrayed me. So trusting yourself, trusting that you will be shown what you need to about someone, and that you are shown in those first few minutes what someone is truly like. And also coming, and this is a really big one, because so often we think, well, they'll change or they can be what I want. But who wants to go into a relationship where you think you have to change them, or it's dependent upon your happiness for them to change? Because people can change. I know I changed, but it's because I wanted to, not because someone else thought I needed to. And so, and that comes from a place of self-love too, right? I saw who I had become. And in some ways I was just like my mother, and wonderful person. That's not what I'm saying, but there are aspects of her that I just modeled myself afterwards that I didn't want to be like. And so, is that diplomatic enough? And so this is, where our journey comes from. And it is a beautiful journey, but it is a journey of self-love. And that's what we're here for, to love ourselves and to recognize that we are God and God is us. And when we can reach that point, then we have awakened and we can truly see ourselves for who we are. But it's a lifelong journey, and it's a journey that sometimes takes a lot of work, but it's just picking up one thing each day and going, oh, let me explore this. Oh, what aspect of this do I like about myself? Taking one step every day towards that ultimate goal of joy, happiness, awakening, whatever you're searching for. But it all always will come back to self-love. And I'm going to be working with a good friend of mine, Kimberly DePruthra, and she is on the Speak Up and Empower platform also. She is a divine healer, and we're going to be offering a course on energy and energy healing. And part of it is all about self-love. So look forward to, we've got a seminar coming up in the next couple of weeks that will be just a free online Zoom to get you to meet us both and understand where we're coming from. And then we'll be offering the course sometime. It's 8 weeks in March. So we'll look forward to that. So this is Joanna Rogister. I am the Soul Alchemist. I help people on their journey of transformation to come into alignment with what your soul purpose is, to have more in your life, more joy, more happiness, more peace, better health, whatever you're searching for, and about the journey of self-love. Because once again, that's what we're here for. So this has been a part of Speak Up and Empower's online community of heart-centered people. We share our wisdom, our expertise, our knowledge with those that are searching for more. It's all about having conversations that change the way you see this world. Join me next Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for more Real Talk Soul Alchemy, but I also do Real Talk Wellness Renegade, which is all about utilizing natural therapies to heal ourselves and understand more about our physical world that we live in. Join me. And if you have any questions, concerns, you want to know more, please reach out to me, Joanna Rogister, at soul@joannarogister.com or Soul Alchemy Healing. Or, check out my YouTube channel too. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you next week.